Hey guys, thanks for tuning in on your Memorial Day Monday. I have so many DIYs I'm dropping on you today, so let's get ready and get into it. Let's get into DIY number one. We're doing a decoupaged Patriotic Pallet. You're going to need one of these pallets the Dollar Tree just recently came out with that's on a twine hanger. You're going to need some of their Scrabble letters that they just came out with. They call them letter tiles. And I picked this napkin up at my local grocery store. It's made by Smart Living, and I think I paid like $1.50 for the pack. I also seen them at Walmart. You're going to need some Waverly white chalk paint or whatever kind of white paint you have. Now, first I'm going to take off that tag. I always remove my tags. I never leave them on. I want my projects to have a finished look. Now, I said this before. I always paint before I decoupage something. With this napkin, it is red, white, and blue. So I am going to lightly sand first to get rid of all that, any excess, rough edges, what have you. Then I'm going to just paint the top of those wooden slats. I'm using chalk paint, so it's only going to need one coat. We're decoupaging over it anyway, but that one coat of white paint is really going to make this napkin pop. Anytime you paint before you decoupage, it pops. You're going to need some matte Mod Podge and a nice good sponge brush. Again, you're going to need to use a good amount of the Mod Podge because the sponge brush does soak up a lot of it. And most napkins are 2-ply, some are 3-ply. You're going to want to take those plies apart and just keep the 1-ply with the image printed on it. Now be careful what corner you use because there's usually little tiny black letters in one corner, like with the year or the date or the company. And this has happened to me before. I didn't pay attention and I decoupaged the wrong corner with the writing on it. So now I pay careful attention and make sure I don't do that corner. What's nice about this napkin is 1/4 of this napkin fits perfectly over this pallet. Now, they have other pallets that are going vertically. They have fence pallets. This is the one that's going horizontally, and it's a little bit bigger than the rest. Now that we got that peeled apart, we're going to size it, cut it down, and get to decoupaging. Now, if you'll see here, I'm measuring it. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. It fits perfectly. And then I noticed that black writing in the corner. No, 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 no. We have to turn this napkin around so I don't mess this up. I'm also going to put all my supplies in the description box down below. This is not my premiere video for today. This is like a bonus video. I have so many DIYs that are being edited and content's going over for upload that I just wanted to get this out there because it is a patriotic project. I also have another patriotic project next in this video. So I kind of like grouped them together to get them to you guys so you have enough time to make them for the 4th of July. Now I'm going to cut this quarter out and we're going to decoupage it to this palette. This came out so good, guys. I have this hanging on my wall right now in my home, and I've gotten so many compliments on it. People have asked me where I bought it. It really did come out good. And I made a little oopsie. You're going to see later on in the video, but I did fix it, and you can't even notice. So just to put that out there, things do happen when you're crafting, and you fix them. Everything can be fixed. It's your project. You can make it how you want it. Now, I'm being very careful here because the way they folded this napkin, it kind of ran over. So I didn't want to get bits and pieces of the next image of the flag on this one. I wanted a finished look. So I made sure I just got what I needed. Now, I am going to put this matte Mod Podge a decent amount on each slot, because that sponge brush does soak up about 60% of your Mod Podge. If you squish it down, most of it will come back out, but I like to have enough. Don't over soak it. I over soaked it, and that's where I made my boo-boo. You kind of have to use like a thin layer. And a subscriber of mine left in the comments on my last DIY video that I should try the burning technique. So I did go ahead and try that in this video. After I used my heat press. I swear by the heat press. Even though I did use it this time, I did get some wrinkles and some kinks. Because like I said, I used too much of the Mod Podge. So I used my mini heat press. Those of you who didn't watch the first video, I put it on setting number 2, and I start from the middle and I go out to the left and to the right. Always start in the middle. You don't want to leave it on there too long because your wax paper can get stuck. You want to do your wax paper over your napkin, shiny side always facing your napkin. And you will see right here, as I'm pulling the wax paper up, because I had so much Mod Podge on it, the napkin is coming up with it. It was so soaked in Mod Podge, it didn't stick, even with the heat press. So I'm pulling up, and the napkin's coming up with it. That's okay. It's an easy fix. So I'm going real slow here. I'm like, I don't want to mess this up. I know this is going to be a DIY video, and that is not a good impression as a crafter. But things do happen. I am not going to sit here and tell you everything is perfect every time, because it is not. One thing you will learn about me is I'm very real. And I keep my boo-boos in my videos. I do not edit out my mistakes, because I want everybody to know it happens. It's okay. And it can be fixed. Now, as you see, I'm pulling up the wax paper, and you see the red on the wax paper. That's the napkin coming off with the wax paper. So I'm gently tapping it back down, trying to get it back into place to stick to the palette. Now, on the bottom slat, right by where my thumb is, the napkin is actually going to come off with the wax paper. And you'll see I do have a hole. And it's right in the red stripe. So I'm trying to go real slow here. And it's a pretty good size hole. It's noticeable. Okay, no problem, no sweat. We got this. I just need to get the rest of this napkin off this palette with no more kinks. So I'm going real slow, and some of the blue starts to come off. Luckily, it didn't leave any more holes on this project. The stars came out. The stripes came out, with the exception of the bottom red stripe. I do have a tiny hole there. Alright, whew, we got that off. Now, I have to fix these boo-boos. If you will see, there's white spots on the white stripes. I didn't like that. I need to fix that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look through my paints, and I'm going to find the paint that matches closest to this color red. I knew the Crimson Chalk Paint by Waverly was going to be too bright. That's more of a Christmas color. It's not the color that's in this flag. So here I'm trying the burning technique. For some reason, guys, it didn't stay lit for me. Like when I see the decoupaging in the burning method, it just lights right up. Everything comes off with one flick of the lighter, and that wasn't the case for me. You can see it's going here after I turned it upside down, and it stopped. So I had to keep relighting it, and to be honest, I like the sanding method a lot better. But I am also a creature of habit, and I do what works best for me. If this works for you, go with it. It didn't work too good for me. It was almost like I wasted more time trying to get it to stay lit and come off, and I could have had the whole project sanded by now. So I'm going to continue to burn, and I don't want to catch anything on fire. So anytime you're playing with fire, be super, super duper careful, guys. Especially when you're indoors, you're in your home. You know, anything can happen. So just be super careful. Another thing about the fire technique. I don't like how it leaves, like, the burnt edges. That's cool if that's the look you're going for. But I like a nice, clean sanding. Nice and clean, crisp, sharp corners. And I just didn't like that ashy residue it left behind. So I did go ahead and go back over it with my finger sander and get all of that ash and stuff and the debris off. So here we are. We're done with the lighter method. And I have to take my finger sander and get all that yucky stuff off. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I hope everybody had a great Memorial Day weekend. I hope everybody's enjoying the beginning of their summer and doing lots of fun crafting projects, because I am in here working busy, guys. I have so much stuff to share with you, and I'm so excited to start this journey with you. To all my new subscribers, thank you for being here from day one, and I promise you it will be worth it. When you're sanding after you decoupage, make sure you always go in a downward motion. Obviously, I can't do a downward motion in between the slats on the palette, but where you can, just make sure you always go in a downward motion, because when you go back and forth, it tends to lift the napkin off the palette. Now, like I said before, the Crimson by Waverly Chalk Paint was too bright. The Lacquer by Waverly Chalk Paint, however, is a deeper, darker, richer red. So I did decide to go with the Lacquer Chalk Paint by Waverly. And I'm not going to drench it. I am going to take the tiniest bit of red paint on the smallest brush I can find and just dab it in, you know, where the white spots are on the red stripes. Just dot, 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 real quick, dot, 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 real quick, because after this dries, it blends in perfectly. Dot, 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 dot. Okay, where do we need some more paint? Okay, over here, done. It's as easy as that. And you guys know I love to incorporate my Scrabble letters. So we are going to incorporate our Scrabble letters on this one here too as well. I'm just going to speed this up a little bit. A little sanding, a little painting, and to get it to my liking. So here come the Scrabble letters. I decided to go with Home of the Brave. It's an American flag. It's a wall hanger. I just thought that went. So I always place my Scrabble letters on the project before I glue them. That way I can space them out. I can see what goes where before it's actually glued to the project. Because once it's glued, it's not coming off. So I go through, I space them out, I make sure everything is where I want it, it's on point, and then I go back through and glue the Scrabble letters to the project. We're going to go ahead and fast forward past my placing. One thing I do want to mention is when I start to glue, I don't use an excessive amount of glue. I use a dot, like right there, just one dot. I always do the first letter and the last letter. That way my letters in between get the proper spacing that they need. And here it is. It's done. It's complete. It looks great. And if after the paint dries, you can't even tell that a piece of the napkin came off. It looks great on my wall. There it is, guys. Now let's get into DIY number 2, which is some decorative patriotic dice. You're going to need 2 packs of these foam dice. What I just found on the Dollar Tree website, they have white dice now, guys. No more covering them dots. Okay, you're going to need some Ocean by Waverly chalk paint. You're going to need the color Lacquer again by Waverly chalk paint. You're also going to need like a cutting machine or sticker letters or something to place on the dice to make words. So I am going to paint 2 of the dice in the lacquer, and I'm going to paint 2 of the dice in the Ocean. Then we're going to do red, blue. So everything looks cohesive. The letters are going to be white. So we're going to have red, white, and blue. 2 here, 2 here. So let's get to painting. I want to mention that I did have to do 2 coats of each color over the die. You can still see those pesky dots after 1 coat. If you hold it under the light correctly, you can still see the dot on the die. So I did do 2 coats of each. And through the magic of camera, they're painted. And they look good. You can't see the dots. We're going to take some ink by Waverly, and we're going to take some white by Waverly. We're going to dirty these up, and we're going to lightly distress them with the white paint first. So I'm going to take a Chippy Brush, and if you've never dry brushed, it's so easy. You're going to get a paper towel, and you're going to dip your brush in the white paint heavily, saturate the brush, and then take most of that paint off. And then I'm just going to go around my edges of each die and get that white on there so each side stands out. It gives it that pop of color. And then what the black does is it makes it look old, worn, vintagey. So that's why I did the white first to make it pop. And then I do the black to dirty it up. And then here they are. And I believe the font I used is Lobster. Don't quote me. But I decided to go with Land of the Free because we did Home of the Brave on our palette. Now, where you have an extra die, I just cut out a star. They're white letters, so you have the red, white, and blue. You have the stars. And then when you stage it like this in your home, from every angle, somebody can see something. It looks great. Now we're going to do 2 Farmhouse Risers. I got these plaques from the Dollar Tree. They're each 5 by 7 inches. They're not too big. They're smaller size. But they're bigger than the other plaques that they have that are like 2 by 3 inches. So I decided these would be super cute risers. Now I got these from Hobby Lobby. I think it was $2.49 for 4 of them. And I looked at them, I said, those would make cute feet. So I'm going to use those on one of them. And then for the feet on the other one, I'm going to use 4 of these 20 millimeter beads. They're the big beads, the big wood beads. So you're going to need some Waverly Antique Wax, some white Waverly chalk paint, and then I got this quart of Rust-Oleum Coastal Blue. I've never used it before. This is the first time. I don't know how it's going to come out, so we shall see. Now I'm going to remove my stickers. These needed the heat gun. They were really stuck. So I just put my heat gun on low. I take my razor blade there. I think I got this blade at like Advanced Auto. It's for scraping off registrations and inspection stickers. But it works great for crafting. And I think it was like $1.50. Now I am going to take some sandpaper to where I took them stickers off, because when I ran my hands over them, they were sticky. So I am going to sand all that glue right off this project, because I don't want any hiccups. I don't want the paint not to stick in the spot where the glue is. My finger sander was not cutting it, so I went to the Dollar Tree sanding block. I used the roughest edge, and I just got in there and got all that glue off. It didn't take me long. One thing I do want to say is make sure you get all the debris off after you're done sanding, because if you don't and then you go and paint, you're going to have all those little sand particles mixed up in your paint, and it's going to make a mess. Learn from my mistakes, guys. Learn from my mistakes. Now we are going to go ahead and we are going to give 1 coat of the antiquing wax to the square 5x7 plaque. And I'm going to put it on thick. I'm going to put it on thick because after I put it on and I get everything covered, we're going to take a baby wipe to it and wipe most of it off anyway. Trust me, that's the best method. It looks great. It looks like it was really stained. And you shall see. You can make your own call. You don't have to use antiquing wax. You can use whatever. You can use min wax. You can use whatever kind of stain that you have on hand. I like the antiquing wax because it doesn't have an odor, and I do have kids in the house. We're going to go ahead and fast forward past this. You guys know how to put on paint or stain. You don't need lessons on this. Now we're going to take our baby wipe and we're going to get all that excess off. We're going to put our beads on a skewer stick. This is the easiest way that I know how to paint beads. Now we're going to go ahead, lay down a new sheet of wax paper, and we're going to pop open this quart of Coastal Blue. I hope it's as pretty as it looks on the can. I really do. There's something about the color blue. I love mostly all shades of blue, but something about this color that I bought the whole quart. So we shall see. I got this little key to open the quart cans at Home Depot. I think it was like 68 cents or something odd like that. Some odd number, but it was really cheap. And it comes in handy. No more screwdrivers. Okay, let's stir this baby up and see what we're working with. And we know when chalk paint dries, it dries a little lighter. So we're going to go ahead and paint this whole thing in this Coastal Blue. I'm actually going to give it 2 coats. I put the heat gun to it to dry it a little faster. And I am pleasantly surprised with the color that it turned out to be. Now we're going to go ahead and paint our little feet. And I did lose some footage in here, guys. I lost the footage of me actually attaching the beads to the antiquing wax riser. So our feet are painted for the Coastal Blue. My fingers are a mess. Don't mind me. I did attach these with some hot glue and a little dot of E6000. The hot glue is for a temporary hold. The E6000 is for longevity. We want to make sure these feet aren't coming off. Now we're going to take the Chippy brush and we are going to dry brush this stained riser with the white Waverly chalk paint. Again, just dab it on a paper towel, get most of that paint off. And I am doing a heavy dry brush over both of them. Now, looking at them, I love them, but I kind of wish I did a light dry brushing over the blue because it did turn out so pretty. And here's what it looks like after I did the dry brush. You see the stain underneath the white paint. And to me, it's just very farmhouse. It's easy. It costs $1.50 to make. You know, as long as you have the stain in the paint. And it displays all your pieces. It only displays a couple, but if you stage it correctly, it looks super cute. Now we're going to go ahead and give a heavy dry brush to the Coastal Blue Riser. Again, I wish I didn't go heavy-handed on this one because the blue was that pretty. I'm going to make another one and I'm going to do a light dry brush. Now we are going to attach these feet. I didn't lose this footage, thank goodness. And I'm just placing them on the bottom to make sure they're centered. They're not uneven. They don't look cockeyed. None of that. So I'm going to place them first before I glue them down. And these had like a really deep hole in them. And there wasn't enough room on the edge of the foot to do hot glue and E6000, so I left the E6000 out and I just did the hot glue and I kind of filled up that hole with some hot glue so it had a little bit of a stronger hold. If they don't hold by chance, I think they will because these are wood glue sticks. I ordered them off Amazon. They are by Surebonder. They're specifically to glue wood. So I'm thinking they will hold. But if they don't, I will go ahead and try to apply the E6000. Guys, these projects were so fun to make. And I have really high anxiety. When I'm in my craft room, I am so calm, so cool, so collected. And this is my escape. This is what calms me down. This is where I have fun. And when I'm done with the project, it's usable. It's functional. I can use it in my home. I can display it. I can be proud of it and tell people, hey, I made that. You know, you can buy that in the store for $9.99 and I made it for $1.25. You know, that's something to be proud of. I am very frugal. I do couponing. I have kids. They are very expensive. So wherever I can save a penny, I save a penny or 2 or 10. But that's how I am. Now that we have the feet applied, we're going to flip it over. I am going to inspect it. And as soon as I flipped it over, I'm like, hey, I went heavy-handed on the white. But that's okay. Because we are going to stage these and make them look super, super cute. We have the stained and white one here. And we have the coastal blue and white one next to it. Guys, these are super adorable. Now, if you see here, the 20 millimeter beads, this riser is a little bit shorter, about a ½ inch shorter than the coastal blue one. Those feet are bigger, so it does make it a little bit taller. Now I'm going to take my finger sander, and I'm going to go in, because if you use chalk paint, before, you know after you're done painting, it leaves kind of like a rough surface. So I'm going to take my finger sander, and I'm going to go around all the edges. I'm not going to go hard. I'm going to go lightly, where you can actually see some of the wood peek through, but not a lot. And then I'm going to rub it over the whole project, just so it doesn't have that rough surface. Everything is smooth. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up. And here they are, finished, done. And here they are staged. How cute are these risers, y'all? And I use my wheelbarrow that I got in my last shopping haul. Super cute. DIY number 5. We're going to make some buffalo check decorative throw pillows. I got these placemats at the Dollar Tree. When I seen these, it was around Christmas time, I immediately thought throw pillows. Buffalo check, throw pillows. So I got 2 placemats. They were $1.25 each, of course. And I got this stuff. It's not polyfill. It's the fake snow. I got this at Hobby Lobby. This is usually $9.99 a bag. I got this at 90% off. It was $1 a bag. And I picked up 10 bags. Because I got 10 bags for the price of 1. And I am going to use it to stuff these placemats. And guess what? It worked. Yes, it did. So now I know what I'm going to use my fake snow for. Hey, you use what you got, right? So what I'm going to do is I don't have a thread ripper. And I want to get rid of that tag. So I am going to take my detail scissors and I am going to rip that thread right out of there. And once I get it started, it's fine because I can just cut it along. Getting it started was a pain in the booty, okay? So we're going to speed through this and I finally get it started. I cut through. You'll find when you go to open it up, it's going to be stuck together. There's that lining in there that kind of sticks it together. So you're going to want to run your hand through there and separate it all the way down and all the corners. Now I'm going to open up this snow. When I opened it, I was pleasantly surprised at how soft this stuff was. I've never bought this stuff. I've never used this in my home. And I began to stuff. I used 1 whole bag per placemat. And then I just went ahead and I hot glued it closed back together again. And we're going to do this same process for the second placemat. Guys, these are fabulous. For $2.50 for the placemats and $2 for the fill. So $4.50, and I got 2 decent size decorative throw pillows for my barrel chair. That's where they are. They're on my barrel chair. I did go ahead and splurge. I bought myself a round barrel chair that spins. I've always wanted one. I'm like, this is going to be my spot. This is where I'm going to relax because I have a decent sized craft space in my basement. And when I say decent size, it's probably about 800 square feet. And then I have a utility room that's about 400 square feet where I keep all my power tools, my paints, that has a door on it so the kids can't get in and nothing. Then outside my craft room, I have a sitting area and I have a very large toy room for the kids to play. Well, my barrel chair is in my sitting area. I have a TV. The kids have 6-foot bean bags. I have my barrel chair. I have had my barrel chair a little over a year now. I haven't sat in it once. The kids sit in it every day and spin each other. I have not sat in this chair one time, and I swore you weren't going to be able to get me out of this chair. It's funny how things work out that way. But when I'm downstairs, they know Mom's busy working. We're going to play. We're going to be quiet. We're going to have fun. And Mom's going to do her thing. So that's how we operate here in my house. Because trying to keep 2 toddlers entertained while you're trying to zen and relax and unwind and craft and do videos, it's hard, y'all. I am not even going to lie. So when I had my basement renovated, I said, you know what? The kids are going to be down here because they follow me everywhere, even to the potty room. So I'm going to build them a toy room, and it has worked absolutely great. I mean, the contractor was building my office and my craft room. And my daughter walked up to him. She said, hey, you know, my mom's business is named after me. I want a secretary window in the middle of the wall. And that man didn't even ask me. He gave her a secretary window in the middle of the wall. Little does she know that secretary window comes in so handy because I can just look over and look right out into the other room and see what they're up to. So she came up with the best invention down there and she didn't even know it. Here it is, all stuffed and filled. And look at how puffy it is. That's just one bag. And it's soft to the touch. My daughter loves laying on them. My son loves laying on them. I haven't put my head on them. My kids love them. So we're going to do the same process for the second one. And we're just going to snip the stitching, get rid of the tag, pop that bag of fake snow, stuff it, and glue it back together. And here they are, styled in my barrel chair. I love them. Guys, don't forget to follow me. I'll leave everything in the description box down below. I hope you enjoyed all 5 DIYs. I loved making them for y'all. Don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, share, do your thing so YouTube knows this is content you want to continue to see. It will help my channel grow. It will help me get exposure. And again, to all my day ones who've been here since the very first DIY video, I told you I'm just going to get better. Stick with me and you will see. And here we are with all the DIYs we did today. Don't forget, I have my premiere video coming on at 6 p.m. tonight. Stay tuned.